It's time now to visit with our Bears insider, Chicago Tribune Bears beat writer Dan Wiederer. 2 wins have changed the idea of certain change this offseason, including the future of the current starting quarterback. Dan, in your opinion, what does the future hold for Mitch Trubisky? Do you think that the Bears bring him back if he continues to play as well as he has since he reclaimed his job as the starter?
It's a complicated conversation, Lauren, and obviously there's still 2 games left for Mitch to tell the rest of his story on his rookie contract as a Bear. But beyond that, it then comes down to a number of factors, including who's going to be making the decisions inside Hallis Hall. What does Mitch Trubisky want for his own future in his career? And there's a lot to sort through. And the Bears and Mitch himself aren't ready to start sorting through all that until they can get through the rest of this crazy season. We've seen so many twists and turns and ups and downs in this season. Who knows what these next 2 weeks hold? But certainly you have to give Mitch a ton of credit for the poise he's shown in handling everything that's been thrown at him in 2020 and having himself ready when the second opportunity came down the stretch to play winning football and keep the Bears alive in this playoff race.
Do you have a sense of how well the Bears are playing versus their competition level?
I don't. And this has made all of this so complicated and confusing, Lauren, because the team that we've watched over the last 4 games is nothing like the team that we watched for the first 10 games. And that's on both sides of the ball, right? The first 10 games were about an offense that couldn't get out of its own way, couldn't do anything productive, and a defense that was really good. Well, now the offense is showing signs that it can be a really at least decent offense in this league, and the defense seems to be struggling a little bit. And so you have this very complicated dynamic of trying to figure out who are the real Bears. So, what is their real DNA? And we're still sifting through it. I don't think that this city has quite figured out how to wrap its brain around whether this team is actually a playoff contender or whether they're another disappointing team. And we've got 2 more weeks to figure this out. And it has become very, very confusing for a lot of folks.
1-13, a beatable team. Then the Packers, who will likely play their reserves. It seems like it could be realistic.
It is. I mean, it's certainly possible. And I see zero way that they lose this game on Sunday in Jacksonville, with the Jaguars having zero incentive to give up that lottery ticket that they hold to have Trevor Lawrence in their possession in a few months. And the Bears obviously have played with good focus the last few weeks. They get reminders this past week from both the Jets and the Bengals that even bad teams are capable of coming up and biting you if you're not careful. And so if they win this, it sets up this really, really intriguing Week 17 game against the Packers. And I know for me, I'm hoping that there's something in it for the Packers, because you'd like to see the Bears take their swing at that game against a full-strength Packers team with Aaron Rodgers wanting to do everything he can to keep them out of the playoffs. It sets up for a very fun Week 17, and I don't think any of us were envisioning that, when we were 56 days between their 5th win and their 6th win, right?
What is on your Christmas wish list for the Bears on Sunday? What is Santa bringing to this team, in your opinion?
Look, you're looking at the NFL's worst defense in the Jaguars, and you're looking at a Bears offense that has found itself, right? They've scored 20 points before halftime in each of the last 3 weeks. And so I think it's very realistic for Mr. Claus to bring the Bears another 30-plus point showing, right? To bring them another convincing win, to bring them this opportunity, as we just talked about, to go into Week 17 with a chance to win and get into the postseason. And boy, with all the twists and turns on this roller coaster that we've ridden really since training camp began in August, it's amazing to think that this could end with a game of that magnitude, with those stakes against the rival Packers at Soldier Field in Week 17. Unfortunately, that game will be played without a crowd in the stands. But if it's played with those stakes, I think we'll all sort of sit back and say, hey, entertain us. Let's see what this team has to offer.